See if this works. Start the encoder, which is going to be a little bit behind schedule. Connect your encoder. I already did. I guess I need to tell it to start. Born for the journey. Error is already assigned. Maybe? Hey, there we go. Okay. So it looks like some of my settings are lost, but that's okay. It says there's an error, but it says it's working. This streaming thing has been a great big experiment. I talked about experimentation the other day. And man, boy, that mindset is so needed because last night I recorded 2 separate versions of this, each time thinking it was going well. And what was actually happening was the first one, there was no audio at all because my microphone didn't get turned on by me. But then I realized it at the end, which is ridiculous to realize it at the end. But anyway, so I did it again, making sure the microphone was on, but however, the microphone died. So, as we'll talk about in this project, sometimes when you're doing something, you've got to just keep on iterating and not let it hold you back. And that's what this one is about. This one is about letting go of outcomes, because outcomes most certainly can hold you back. And that's not good. Another thing I realized, which I did not do today, which I need to put in I need to wear headphones. Because if I were wearing headphones, at least an earpiece or something, then I would have known that the mic wasn't working. So that will be next time. Hey, I've got a piece of paper here. Imagine this. Let's take notes. So next time, the next iteration of the thing that you're doing, take notes and write down what you need to do. Headphones. All right. So what is this? What is this one about? Well, this is the Born for the Journey project. I'm David Bourne, where I am helping you walk through your challenges of being human. It's actually the best challenge there is. Doing things that we find are hard to do, because when you're doing something that's hard, life is going to bring you challenges, and most of those are going to come from within. And most of those are because we want certain outcomes, whether we're conscious of those outcomes or not. We typically want outcomes and we're expecting outcomes. And when those outcomes are not met, then we're either disappointed, or we are going to talk negatively to ourselves and call us names, or we're going to procrastinate, or we're going to distract. Basically, you're looking at fear of overexposure, fear of putting yourself out there. It's a real thing. So in this episode, we'll talk about letting go of those outcomes and the huge benefits of that. And I'm going to use my story of how I've been working on this project. I talked about that a little bit last night. I totally screwed up, but I'm back to do it again because I'm letting go of the outcome that everything has to be right. Or if it's a failure and I just have to quit. I've done that so many times. I'm just done with that. So I'm going to flip over right quick to the iPad, where I'll say that I have a tendency to forget when I'm drawing. I forget that you can't see the drawing. So I figured out a little tool. When I take my pen, I'm going to set it next to my controller here, and that's going to help remind me that you can't see what I'm talking about. But what am I talking about? Well, I am talking about this right here. Well, let me zoom back out. So this is a map. This is the 4-part cycle map. And as you can see, P-A-R-T, I'm looking over here because this is my monitor. Next plan is to move my monitor over there so I don't look over so much. you can see this is PART. That stands for plan, action, results, and truth, because this is a cycle. This shows us how we move through the world, we move through change. We do it ideally in a cycle, a clockwise cycle for this model. And typically what happens is we get stuck here in mind and body. How does that work? Well, I came up with a new Zoom. Let's see if that works. Mind and body, plan and action. So whenever we are kind of stuck on our plan, and if the plan's not working and we don't change the plan, or we have expectations about the plan, that's when we get in trouble, because we never make it fully all the way around the cycle. And getting around the cycle is the best. That's really what we're looking to do, because what we're trying to do here is get up here to true north. This is our true self. This is what I call the self that's associated with the spirit. Now, so what I've been doing is 9 weeks ago, I started a 30-day video challenge, and I only got a few days into it when I realized shorts are not big enough for these ideas. And so what I did was I said, all right, well, I'm going to figure out a way to sit down on a daily basis and go through my ideas. So many of these ideas are in my notes, and I do a lot of writing, and I do a lot of connecting notes, and I do this in an app called Obsidian, which is awesome. I love Obsidian. I love coming into it. And I really highly recommend it. One of the changes that I'm working on is, here, I've already lost my, see if this works. Yes, one of the changes I'm working on for this project, because I started out doing shorts, and then I realized I needed to do longer videos, which turned into live videos. There was a period there where I tried to do live videos and I couldn't. Or I couldn't do long videos because I was so caught up in the editing. I was stuck. And I was stuck on the results, right? I was stuck on, I just told myself these results aren't good enough. Throughout my career, there's probably 10 or 12 years where I edited videos professionally for other people. And so you develop a mindset that everything has to be perfect. And that is a real thing. That is a part of me that lives in my body that I had to work through. So I did work through it, and I realized, you know what? Live video is going to be so much easier if I can just put up with myself. Meaning, if I can just put up with the fact that these videos are going to be very imperfect. They will be edited in a sense that I can switch back and forth between different parts of the screens, and you can get a variety of different outlooks on what it is I'm talking about, whether that be in Obsidian for my notes or for drawing an idea out on an iPad. So what was I doing? I started out with this plan, right? The plan to do shorts. And I made some loops around the cycle, and I was learning. I learned some of these new truths. Okay? I got some new ideas. You've experienced this. Whenever you do something, you realize, oh wow, I just took that action and now I've learned this thing and it's changed it. Well, I did that, and I realized I need to be doing long videos, not short videos, or maybe I can do, actually the original idea, and this is important, the original idea was that I return to shorts. And I plan on doing that, but I'm still caught up in the editor part. I'm still just now learning this. And so I spend so much energy tweaking my system that I haven't given myself time to do shorts. Now that's the next thing. I'm gonna take my notepad. What did I have before? Headphones. I've got to focus on shorts. Now that shorts are just where it's at for audience attention. Now, audience attention, there we go. We're looking at outcomes again, so I've got to be careful there. What comes up when I think about outcomes? Well, in my body, I've just moved it over. In my body here, I've got these stored let's call it baggage. It's my stuff. It's my stories, stored stories. And it's ultimately trying to avoid pain. It's reminding me, hey, you screwed up. That was painful when you did that. Don't do that again. Well, if I listen to that voice, I would never take much action. I would just move away from this whole project. I would tell myself, go do something else. And believe me, I've done that so many times that I've said, I'm going to go do something else. And I've got to write down another note that I've forgotten, meaning really set the timer. Can you see that? You can't see that, but I realized this is already going longer than I wanted it to. But that's okay. The pain that's stored in our nervous system, in our bodies, we have to overcome it. I've talked about it in previous videos a lot. It's the resistance. Are you familiar with this? What's the resistance? The resistance is that part of us that keeps us. It resists us from growing forward because of something. It's ultimately fear, I think, of pain. But when we can see it and we can use a mental model like this map, then we can see. And it's really important that as I'm starting to do now long form, which is really turning into live video. Okay, as I'm starting to do live video and I'm making more and more attempts at it and I'm having issues, but I'm trying to keep the outcomes. I'm getting new good outcomes. I'm getting outcomes that I don't like. Last night I got outcomes. Two failed complete. I had to delete the videos because they had bad audio, completely bad audio, meaning no audio. And so I've got the part of me that I'm working with here is like, okay, well, I screwed up. It's an experiment anyway. I'm not getting attached to outcomes with experiments. I'm just learning. I'm practicing. I'm getting better and better at explaining these ideas. And so, I think what's happening in a bigger picture, I'm going to change my color here. In a bigger picture, as in the bigger loop, in my mind, I'm beginning to understand that, okay, I'm willing to work through this resistance here. And kind of these results, I'm not going to take them too personally. I'm learning things. That's a good result. I'm making videos. That's the real result that I wanted to do. I'm talking about these ideas that I love so much. There's just a lot of heart connection, and eventually I'll find folks who really like this content and understand, and it just happens to meet them where they are and connect. And this is where we connect with other folks. This is the heart, and this is where we show up for each other. We are vulnerable for each other. We are willing to intervene in each other's lives. I'm a coach, so I totally understand this. My job as a coach is to create a safe space where I let somebody share their resistances. I let them tell their story. I let the stories come up. I ask questions, and I'm looking for those resistances, and I'm looking for that clenching energy because we want to be free from that clenching. We want to let that energy go. And so how do we do that? Well, we learn these new truths, and we learn that it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be so negative. We can come in here, connect with our heart, move into our spirit self, where eventually we'll get higher and higher and higher into this true north. And the true north, this is the key to everything. The true self, the spirit self. This is where everything comes together, because the spirit self can hold it all. It is the safe space. It can see the mind. It can see the resistance and the body's. It can feel the sensations of the body, right? And then it can connect with the heart, and it can remember why we should be grateful. Should be. Should we say that? Why I'm grateful. Why you could be grateful. I'm grateful I'm learning. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to use these tools and have fun and learn and talk about these cool ideas and meet people who are doing the same kind of thing on the same kind of journey. And ultimately, we just come into that spirit self more and more. We begin to rely on that true self that is always okay. That self is never in pain. The resistance can't touch that self. That self can see the resistance, and it can say to it, can say to the body, hey, let's relax. Let's go for a walk. Let's change the channel here. Let's see it for what it is. Yeah, I screwed up in the past, and there's that part of me that is hurt and thinks, I shouldn't make those mistakes, but I'm done with that. Let's move on. Let's go and do something different. So I think, when we let go of outcomes, we can really move into the greater possibilities of what things can be. I didn't think I'd be doing live videos when I set out to do the short project. I thought I didn't want that. I thought it didn't fulfill it, but now I see that it does. And another thing that's interesting is I realized, I think I can do actually a different channel. I love this tech. And I focus on tech so much. It's something that my heart self really loves. My artist character within me really loves that. And I can get into that space and just let it go and let it rip. I'm pretty sure I'm going to create another channel that's just for the tech. If this channel is 90% personal growth and coaching topics, then that other channel would be probably 90% tech and 10% coaching. And that channel could definitely they could point to each other and have this symbiotic relationship. Now, I've got some rules around that. Like right now, I'm not going to do that because this is most important. But I've got a rule that I'm not going to make one of those videos unless I've just finished one of these videos. So we'll see how it goes. I haven't done it yet, but that's my prediction that that's going to happen. So I'm David Bourne. This is Bourne for the Journey, and I hope you'll take some of these concepts, some of the, consider this map, and consider the letting go of these outcomes to find greater possibility in the projects that you're working on. I'd love to hear about it. You can always find more at davidbourne.com. That is another thing I need to do, is make a web address, David Bourne. You can't read that, but you could see how Bourne is spelled, davidbourne.com. Look me up there, and good luck on the journey. Cheers.